Welcome back to the channel. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Hope you're enjoying your weekend with your friends and family, barbecue, fun, and being safe. Today I'm just going to do a video on, it's an update video, 3 months into wearing these Drews 10-inch all black, all rough out boots. I've been wearing them in rotation with my 8-inch all rough out Drews boots that are brown. So I wear them every day to work. I wear them on concrete, standing pretty much in one position. I do move around, but it's the majority of my day is standing in one spot. And they're awesome. They're comfortable. They're built so well. They're built in Leon, Mexico. They're $350. And what can I say? There's not any stitches out of place. They're not coming apart from the midsole. The heel's not coming off from the stacked leather heel. The soles are holding up awesome. I drag my my right heel a bit, and these are the white X boots, so they're a little bit softer, and that's great because the Vibram 100 lug are harder material. But all the stitches, the screws are in. They're comfortable. The eyelets are all staying where they're supposed to be. The speed hooks are staying where they're supposed to be. I did replace the leather laces with some other laces. I like these laces. Gosh, I wish I knew the name of them. I don't have the tag on me right now, but they're made in the US and they're really tough, and they're black. This one's black. So let's get into it. I've got a shoe polishing box here that my dad gave to me years ago. I'm going to open it up. See what's inside. Inside I got a flask. Not for what you think. I got horsehair brushes of different sizes. So I've got a sanding block. I've got a pool table edge cleaner. Tell you why in a moment. Mini toothbrush, another horse-haired brush, a fingernail cleaner, some rags, and today I am going to oil these boots with Obanoff's oil. Great stuff. And on my next video, which is going to be waxing, I'm going to use Baker's wax. Baker shoes, Baker boots in Eugene, Oregon. They make their own wax. So I'm going to put that on my brown boots. And then when I'm done, I'm going to do a little medium brown leather dye down here on the heel stack and around the boot itself on that leather, just to clean it up a little bit. So what's the flask for? I'm sure you're probably wondering. It's just to pour water into a little glass jar. And what am I going to use today? I'm probably going to use this pool table edge cleaner. Works great for getting inside of the welts. So as you can see, that welted area, it works really well there. Or you can use a toothbrush. An old toothbrush gets in there too. So it's up to you as how you want to clean them. But today I'm going to probably just use the old pool table brush. I'm going to use the small applicator horsehair brush, a large horsehair brush, a medium horsehair brush, put the oil in the box, the fingernail cleaners, a couple rags, and of course water. So I'm going to pour the water in the little bowl I have here. That aside. These rags are cool. You put your hand inside of there, put your oil on or whatever, and wipe in your oil or wax on your boot if you prefer to do it that way. So, and then this one here is just a regular, oh no, actually I'm wrong. I have two of these, that's right. So they go around your hand like that. So it's pretty cool. You can use both sides. So to start, I'm going to remove my laces from the boot, and then I'm going to remove the false tongue as well. I won't bore you with both boots. If you like my channel, hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. We appreciate that very much. And out go the laces and the false tongue. So I'm going to stick that down here. I'm going to set one of the boots aside, seeing as how I'm only going to do one on camera. And here's my laces. I'll stick those right over here with the false tongue. And right away I noticed, because I've done everything in these boots, I've gone hiking, gone in the snow, to the hot springs, the lake, work, yard work, gone up on my roof. Of course, you know, they're not made for roofing, but the type of roofing stuff I'm doing for minor repairs is fine. And gosh, I've taken them everywhere. Out on the town, out everywhere. Okay, got my shoe tree out. It's important to have a boot tree or a shoe tree. Keeps the form of your boot. At the end of the day, any moisture from sweat, these shoe trees will absorb that moisture and keeps the odor down in your boot. So you can not worry about that stinky boot deal there. So first thing I'm going to do is brush the boot. And on the inside here, I've got grass and dirt and debris. And there goes that one. And lucky, we have two available. I'm just going to give the boot a brushing with my horsehair brush first. It's just going to knock off any dirt that's sitting on top of the boot. And the rough out, I don't know if you can see that on camera, starting to smooth out and shine on the back of my heel and on some of the areas of the boot where my pants rub. And up here in the toe area, that was a lot more rough out look, but it starts to lay itself down. You start to get shiny areas. That's kind of part of the cool patina of a rough out boot, is you get that two-tone look of rough out / shiny look. And if you don't like that, then you can always brush it out. You take a more coarse brush, like one of these Winco brushes, I think they're called. And you can brush that out. And it can take a while to get that matted back up, but I kind of like it, so I'm not going to mess with it too much. Don't forget about your stacked heel down in here, right where your heel is, okay? You got leather that goes around 360 degrees. You want to make sure and get that area too brushed down, because that is leather. Maybe I'll use my little toothbrush part for that. Yep, that's working just fine right there. So yeah, now I'm going to clean the welt just by going, just like it says, a pool table edge cleaner, which works fantastic. I've been using it for years. As you can see, it's worn down pretty darn good. Pardon me. But this will get inside that welt really well. You can see all that. I don't know if you can see it, but on the table here, that's a lot of stuff just coming off this boot from the little bit I've been brushing. But that welt looks really nice right now. I'll go over it once more with a horsehair brush. And you can see even inside here where the false tongue was, it's shiny. So that it's such a cool thing. Rough out boots are so cool. They have their own patina that's completely different from the smooth side out. Just totally different look. Get there where your hardware is. Give that a brushing. Give it a brushing on the inside. Brush your entire boot down prior to oiling or waxing your boot. Next, I'm just going to take a fingernail brush and I'm going to brush it down just like this. That's going to knock out any of the stuff that was kind of deep in there, deep in the boot. These boots are probably pretty thirsty by now, so they're going to take up this oil real quick. Like, I'm also going to oil the false tongs and my leather laces, or not my leather lace. I'm going to just give a bit of oil to my laces because they were like an oiled lace to begin with, so I'm going to oil them back up. There. And I wear you can wear your false tongue however you want, rough side out or smooth side out. So I'm getting that contrast there, and I do the smooth side out on those. So now my boot is pretty well brushed down. I've got a little block sander, a sponge block sander, and I'm going to use that to go around the heel stack and around the boot. I'm just going to take the edge of it, and I'm going to come around this boot like this. I'm not going to go crazy with it, but I'm going to open up the pores of the boot, of this leather right here, so it can take in the oil. And I got some paint here. I did some painting. I'm just going to get that off. Yeah, there's a little bit of white paint, and it's gone. So there we go. Just coming around that whole boot real lightly, not like putting massive amounts of pressure on that. And then I'm just going to sand on the inside of that heel down in there. And now that I've done that, I'm going to give it one more quick brush down, get any of that sandy material off of there. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this water, just a little. I'm not going to go crazy with it. And I'm just going to wipe down the boot, get any dirt off of the boot and in the welt before I oil it. I'm not saturating the boot right now. I'm just getting dust of silicone in there. Silicone on my boot. And I'm just going to leave it. Anyway, we're going to wipe around here with just a damp cloth. It's not soaked, it's not saturated. I'm just going to get the majority of any dust that remains off the boot. And it's pretty warm out today, so I can go straight into oiling right after I dry these boots off. I'm just going to use a good old-fashioned blue old school bandana just to dry them up. Just like that. Yeah, it's already, shoot, they're already dry after. It says pretty warm. And now comes the fun part, oiling your boot. I'm using Obanoffs today. Let me get the water out of the way so I'll spill it. Using Obanoffs boot oil instead of the grease on this particular boot. So I'm going to apply it. If you haven't used Obanoffs before, it comes with a little applicator. I'm just going to take that boot oil. Oh man, that is really soaking in the boot oil. It's dry. Oops. I can see it just sucking it right into the boot. I'm going to get around that welt really well. Wow. It just took it right in. His boot's been begging for some oil. Pardon me. Gosh, the pollen out in the air has been nuts lately. And it's really affecting my throat out here for some reason today. Yesterday was even worse, but I didn't have a cough at all. Not a cough to speak of. Anyway, just gonna oil my boots all the way up the tongue area. You can put it on there, and if you want, you can rub it in with your hands or a cloth. Gosh, I should have done this video yesterday. It's cough. All right. You can use your hands. It's safe for your hands. It's absorbing so well in this boot right now. I mean, they've been doing a lot of stuff, and they deserve some oil, and they look like they wanted it bad. So on your eyelet area and your speed hook area, you don't need to saturate it too much. You don't want to loosen up that leather. If you do, it's still got leather there, so just give it a quick oiling, and then just brush it in. Do the same thing on the other side here. Just use my fingers for this part so it doesn't get too much oil in there. Just oiling around the speed hooks, oiling around the eyelets, and just bring it down. Pretty much all your threads need oil. And get down in that little crevice area down there really good too. That's where it gets a lot of dryness. It's down right underneath your false tongue in that crevice. Usually is where it gets all of the dirt and grime, and that's a good place to get a little extra oil. So I'm just going to continue to go around the boot with this oil, especially on the threads, on that welt. You want to give that oil a chance to penetrate that welt so it stays nice and water resistant down in there, and it'll protect the boot as well. I'm just saturating this boot today. It needs it on the heel counter here. I'm going to go up the back area, up around that pull loop, inside the pull loop, around the top. I'm going to go around the edge of my boot and the inside where it's got like your date of birth for the boot and the sizing. I'm not going to necessarily go inside the boot. They're not dry or brittle. I might just take whatever's left on my hands and just kind of do this. Put my hand in the boot and rub it around, but I'm not going to saturate the inside of the boot. So pretty much I did. I'm going to give this toe area a little extra because even though it's summertime in the mornings here, it's really moist. I live in Oregon. So in the mornings when I walk around, wow, that little thing's coming right off of there. They still got a little moisture. And when I walk around in the mornings to do stuff in the yard, they soak my boots. I've never had water go through this boot yet, and I walked in the snow and gone hiking in puddles, and then so anyway, never had water saturate through this boot, and I haven't touched a brush to them until today. I've not put any oil on them until today. So now I'm going to brush the boot down again, brush that oil in. That dauber there sure let off a lot of little cotton or whatever the dauber's made of. Came off all over the boot, but it's brushing off now. So we're just going to brush that boot. I'll brush all that oil in. I'm going to use my smaller one to get inside of here. Got one of these little round deals. That's a horsehair brush. These are all horsehair brushes that I'm using. And wow, this boot's it's crazy how just a little bit of oil and some brushing can turn this boot to looking brand new again. So there, I've got that oil brushed in really well. It took that oil real well too. Got it inside that pull loop area, top. Yeah. All right. Now I'm going to just go ahead and oil the heel stack and the leather midsole. So I'm going to take the oil, go around. Don't forget the inside. I'm coming around my boot. Gosh, this cough. Excuse me on that. All the way around the boot. That's leather too, and we sanded it to open up the pores and let that oil absorb in there just a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and wipe them off. Wipe that off. I don't need it to soak in that. I know that's a different type of leather, so you don't necessarily want that leather to get, you don't need to sit there and soak it and let it wreck that or soften that material, that leather up in any way. Just enough to keep it, one, water resistant, and two, keep that leather hydrated. That's an important thing, is to hydrate your leather. Gosh, with it oiled, it almost doesn't look like it needs to have the leather or the dye at this point. Darkened up that leather or leather heel stack in the leather midsole. So there's that. Pretty much, see what I did there is just pretty much brushed it, oiled it. If you got anything on there that you want to really get out, you can use a nail brush. You can use one of these more bristly style brushes. If you got to get up in there and get something off, you want to use a nail brush. It's not going to hurt the boot. Highly advise against a brush like this from like the dollar store. You know, those are great for scrubbing around your shop or whatever, but the bristles are, they're not made for something like this, and they just scratch and tear at your boots. They're not good. So don't go to the dollar store and get yourself one of those cheap brushes. It's kind of cool. I don't know if you can see this on camera. You smooth it out that way. It looks really smooth. Brings that rough out right back up. So, all right, so there's that. Next, I'm going to attempt to do the leather dye. Hopefully, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't oil up my false tongue. I'm off today. I didn't oil up my false tongue or my laces. So, already brushed these, so we can give them a little bit of oil, both sides. I'm just going to rub it in with my hand. And whatever's left on my hand, I'm going to do my laces with. Let those soak into that false tongue. Here's a good point if you want. You can straighten them out. You know, they like to curl up on you at the ends. You can try to straighten them out a little bit, but it's going to curl right back up anyway. I'm just going to take my laces now with the residual oil and just mix them all up in my hands like this. And that's it. Now I can go untie it straight through, and that's good enough. It doesn't need to soak that lace either. So there. I'm going to put the oil away, and once again I'm going to try to attempt, I'm going to put the brushes away. I'm going to attempt, this is a Fibings or Phoebings leather dye. I got it at Baker's Boots. They have black, brown, medium brown, different colors. A red, like a red dog red type deal. Oh yeah, that leather sure did take in that oil. It was a thirsty boot. I'm happy I did that because they look great, nice and cleaned up. Good to go. So now I'm going to take this off here. plastic. Feels where you're gonna get your finger in there. Okay, there we go. Take that off. I don't have my gloves in here. They're out by my other shop. So I'm just gonna put just a little bit on there, and I'm gonna run that right across that leather like this. Oh yeah, it's gonna look really nice when I'm done. This is a medium brown. I didn't want a dark brown. I kind of like the contrast. I know that you can get logger boots with all black or a really dark brown, but I kind of dig on a black boot a little bit of contrast. Not much. I don't want the two-tone look for the upper being brown and the bottom being black. I'm not into that too much, but that looks very sharp. What do you think, guys? I did it without spilling it all over myself too. Can I get a bravo for that? Okay, so there it is, soaking into the boot. Yeah, buddy. Now I'm just gonna take and brush it in like this, kind of. And the cool thing about the black is, compared to other colors, black boot, is that if it gets on your boot, so what? You're not gonna see it. You're not gonna notice it like on a lighter color boot. You better be very careful when you're doing that, or you can mess up your boots. Your leather will have a permanent stain on it. So there we go. Just gonna wipe that welt, all that oil back into that welt. That sure does look sharp, I must say. So now I'm going to lace my boot back up and conclude this video. These boots are awesome for 350 bucks. They are made, I've been preaching this and I mean it. They are made just as well, if not better, than any of the other Pacific Northwest boots out there on the market. And I've had them all except for Frank's. I haven't had Frank's boots yet, but I've had Wesco, Whites, Nick's. These are just made so well, and they're more comfortable. That was the main thing. They don't squeak. Not listening to that squeak. So tired of that with my Whites boots that it's just so annoying after a while where you're trying to walk around, the damn thing is squeaking all day long and nothing to do but rebuild it. Well, that takes the life out of the boot. Time away from your boot there. These don't squeak at all. Neither pair do. And the comfort level, they modified that last, made it a little wider. They got that preformed insole going on, and it's awesome. So now I'm going to just stick my cedar shoe tree back into the boot. And how I sit my boots at night, I tighten my laces back up. I take both laces, I wrap it around my boot like this, and then I just tuck that lace in and wrap it around twice. And there's my boot sitting there for the night, ready for the next day. Hey, I hope you liked this video. And if you did, please give me a like. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, consider doing that. That'd be great. This is the Drew's 10-inch all black rough out logger boot, 350 bucks on drewsboots.com. Turned out pretty sharp, huh? Oh yeah, I'm loving it. It looks like brand new. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Sorry, I'm just enthralled with how nice they look. So we'll see you on the next video. Happy Memorial Day weekend.